can turn it, Dylan. Turn it so it points you better. There.
Hey guys.
Hi everyone. Welcome to the chat, everyone, or the live stream.
We are going to be covering some of our travel horror stories that we've had. 3 specifically, and we have some photos to go along with that. And we will start here in just a little bit when we get a couple more viewers in here. One of them will be when our daughter locked us out of a motel room. Another will be when we had our car broken into in San Francisco. And then the other one will be when somebody tried to abduct our daughter with 5 adults there. And so we will be doing that here in just a few minutes and going over a couple of our horror stories, and then I turn that screen off.
Did you log out? Get off the net. We should do that so it slows.
And we will be going over that here in just a few. But we were also wondering if anybody else had any other traveling horror stories. I can do it. Your arm is all across the screen.
I know, I saw that.
Alright. Shows that we have 1 viewer right now. Let us know if you're on here.
Yeah, make yourself known. I feel like it's like... Did I get taller since the last stream? I feel like it's kind of cut my head off.
Yeah, it's tipped a little bit.
Oh, there you go. That was way easier than I thought it was going to be.
We are still at 1 viewer. Come on. At least 2 viewers, and then we can start chatting. We will go over our horror stories. We have
Get it shared out on
quite a variety of
Twitter
them,
and everywhere.
Already got
so
it.
We can get some people in here.
Alright, still at 1 viewer. Come on, Dustin, at least you. Or chat with us. Are you in? We are sharing out our video right now on social media even more. So, maybe we can get a few more in here. I'm talking a little funny tonight. I got headbutted by our 3-year-old and my lip is all swollen over here.
Hi, Flat Earth Forums. Thank you for coming by. Right now we're trying to get the stream shared out and stuff so we can get some more people in here.
But we will be covering, oh well, thank you Flat Earth Forums. They said we are a good looking couple.
Oh, thank you.
But we are going to be covering a couple of our horror stories in this live stream. One is going to be when our 3-year-old, 2-year-old at the time, locked us out. Was she 2?
She was 2.
Our 2-year-old at the time locked us out of our motel room with her inside. And then the next one will be when our car was broken into when we were in San Francisco. And the last one will be when somebody tried to abduct our daughter. And so stay tuned for that one. That one's quite crazy. But this will be good. Ha ha. Hello, Eileen.
Hey, Eileen.
Good to see you back. Well, we got 2 in here. We can start with our first story.
Absolutely, I guess. Which one do we want to do first? Okay, how about we let you guys pick? So basically, we got.
They can pick between the car broken into and the. What was the other one I just mentioned? And our daughter locking us out of the motel room. Which one of those would you like to hear first? We're gonna save the juicy one for last. So we have where our daughter locked us out of the motel room, or where our car was broken into in San Francisco. Which one of those would you guys like to hear, Dustin, Eileen, or Flat Earth Forums?
And what's crazy about these 2 events, they actually happened on back-to-back nights. It was pretty crazy chain of events.
The locked one is funny. It is quite humorous. We were on a trip and we were ready to get out of Oregon, weren't we?
Yeah.
And so we made it to the coast of California. We're going to do the one where our daughter locked us out. So we made it to the coast of California on Highway 1. We stopped at this little motel and we were starving. It was late at night and Derek went and checked us in and he was like, I've never seen Asians run a motel before. And he was like, that's just not normal. I wasn't expecting that when I walked in. And we had ordered Pizza Hut and they told us where to park. There was a little parking garage right around the side of the building. And our room butted up to this parking garage. And there was a bunch of people in there drinking with some red Solo cups. And we're assuming alcohol. And we carried our first load of luggage in, all of us. And then we went and got our pizza.
I'm going to interrupt right quick. There's something I need to add. So, we went and got Pizza Hut. Okay?
No, we went and got our pizza after that. We went and parked in the parking garage first.
Well, I was just... Okay, well, go ahead and I'll stop you in just a second then.
You're skipping ahead.
No, I'm not skipping ahead. I was just wanting to tell a tidbit about Pizza Hut.
Well, and we took our first load of luggage in, and then we went and we got our pizza at this Pizza Hut.
Okay, now stop.
Okay.
So, she ordered the Pizza Hut online, on pizzahut.com or whatever, the app.
On our app.
And we, just basically just kind of a nugget for the future. On a couple of occasions in the future, we ordered, this actually happened in Crescent City, California. This is where all of this took place. She's ordered Pizza Hut in Crescent City, California.
Probably
like
3 times.
3 times. And it has just been the biggest disaster ever. I mean, almost every time we order stuff like that, we pay for it in advance. And of course, our pizza, we are in Oklahoma and Kansas. And our
paid-for pizza is in Crescent City, California.
We're over here making pizzas for the employees, having pizzas paid for and made for the employees in Crescent City, California, Pizza Hut. And here we are having to pay for 2 pizzas because we got to reorder our own. But anyway, you can continue.
Well, we get back to this little parking garage right behind our motel room. It's literally like there's a opening, and then right around the corner we're the third motel room in. And I forgot something. I forgot the medical kit in the car, because this is another part to the story that we'll probably go over later. Derek and Lenora were both burned.
This was
from the night before. The night before, Derek and Lenora both burned themselves on the stove. And so I forgot the medical kit in the car, and we hadn't even got to the motel room yet. And Derek was like, well, let me run back. You go in there and get the food ready and stuff, and I'll run out to the car and grab the kit. Well, I'm sitting in the motel room. It's been like 5 or 6 minutes, and Derek's not back yet. And all I can sit there and think about is there's a bunch of people and they're drinking, and we don't have our firearms on us, like on our bodies, because we're not allowed to, our concealed carry permits don't go over to...
Hi, R5.
Yeah, our concealed carry permits don't carry over
to
California.
Quick. I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you. R5 Adventures, thank you so much for your help earlier today. It's just our lack of education on YouTube, but we really appreciate your help. All right, go ahead.
And so I'm sitting there getting worried. I look at my phone. I try and call him a couple of times, and I, of course, have zero service. And all I can think about is those guys sitting there in that parking garage drinking. And I'm like, oh my God, my husband's gotten jumped, mugged, shot, stabbed, something like that, freaking out. And I'm like, I need to go check on him.
And also, all she's thinking, like she said earlier, we always have, I mean, we carry our pistols, our firearms on us. And you know, that's all that's going through her mind is, oh Lord, he doesn't have it on him because we're in California. And they just don't really welcome it very well, and so you know that's what's going on. She's worrying, and I'm out there chatting. Yeah. I'm outside chatting with the guys that were sitting chilling with the red Solo cups.
You're jumping ahead. Hold on, and I'm sitting there just having a panic attack in the room, just freaking out. I've had drinks poured for us, our pizza out on our plates, and everything else like that, and. So I was like, do I take our daughter out there with me to check, or do I leave her in the room just in case something's happening out there? I'm like, it's 3 rooms down, it's like 15 feet away. She's going to be a lot safer in this room than if something's out there happening to Derek. Well, I, of course, grabbed my pistol, freaking out, and lock her in the room, of course, with all this pizza and all this pop. And like I just closed the door.
She's being smart. Like she sounds very crazy when she says that she grabbed her pistol. Like we always conceal, and obviously that's what she was doing. And so she grabs the pistol and goes outside concealing.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue.
And
she's trying to make you not sound like crazy.
And so I'm concealing my firearm, of course, and I go out there, I peek around the corner, see that he is just sitting there chatting it up with these guys. I was like, oh, thank God. So I run back to the motel room real quick before literally anybody sees me. It was like maybe 10, 15 seconds at the most. And the door's locked. I'm like, great. So I run back around the corner, tell Derek I need the keys, and he was sitting there chatting it up because they seen his license plate, which is a Cherokee Nation license plate because he's Indian. And they were talking about Cherokee Indians.
Yeah, they were from Georgia. They were from, in fact, one of them was Cherokee, was Eastern Band of Cherokee tribe. And that's what the discussion was. But I was hungry, ready for Pizza Hut that's been sitting in there, and I was ready to wrap up the conversation, and so I told them, I said, yep, nope, that's fine, Sarah, let's go because I'm hungry. And so I didn't give her the key. I walked with her, and as we're walking to the door, she says, you know, Derek, I don't know if that key's going to help us. She said, it seems to be deadbolted. I said, well, that doesn't make sense. How could it be deadbolted? And so we get there, try the key, and of course it opens the knob, but she's right, it's deadbolted. And so
our 2-year-old deadbolted us out of the motel room. Well, we tried the key on the deadbolt. It didn't work. Derek goes up to the office and...
Okay, so I'm telling them that we locked... that we're locked out. And I said I need a key to the deadbolt. And they tell me they are, you know, having not the best time communicating with me. And so I just think, okay, maybe they don't understand. But they were telling me no. They were telling me no, there's no key. And so I'm like, oh no, come here, I'll show you. And so I have them follow me to the room, and I point at the deadbolt and I said, I need the key to this. And they look at me and say, no key. And I said, you don't have a key to the deadbolt? And they said that they don't. And I said, our 2-year-old's in there, and she locked the deadbolt.
Yeah.
And so they are panic. I mean, a huge panic.
Absolutely panicking.
I mean, we were doing fine, actually. We knew Lenora was fine. She was in there eating, drinking Dr. Pepper, and watching cartoons. Like, she was set for the night. And we wasn't even worried about that.
Like, she was doing great in there. She locked us out and had a little party and drank all the pop that she wanted, ate all the pizza that she pleased, and was just having a blast. She wasn't getting her TV channel changed by Mom and Dad.
Hi, Sun City Scratchers. Thanks for coming by. We really appreciate it.
Little quick recap. We're going over how our 2-year-old locked us out of a motel room.
So, quick version just to catch up. We check into a hotel, get pizza. We are checking. We're basically loading all of our luggage into the room. And I go out to grab one last thing, have the pizza, pop everything in the room. Sarah and Lenora, which is our 3-year-old, stays behind in the room, and I go to grab.
She's 3 now. Was 2 at the time.
She was 2, yeah. And I go back out to grab this medical kit, and I didn't come back immediately because there were some guys out there that were all hanging out and chilling and drinking out of red Solo cups. We don't really know the beverage, but that's what was going on, and so. I went out there, and she got worried because we were in California and I wasn't carrying my pistol like I usually do. And so she comes out, and when she steps out to peek around the corner to see what happened to me, our 2-year-old locked the deadbolt. And we find the manager, and they said that they don't have a key to it. And
we tell them that our 2-year-old's locked in there, and they start having a panic attack. And
so now we're back where we were.
Yeah. The guy is sitting there like he rips the screen off the window, and he's like trying to bust into the window, and Lenora's not. She's just sitting there laughing and giggling at the TV, just having a blast. And then he's like, tell her to turn the knob this way. Tell her to turn it this way.
Yeah. And I was like, sir, I'm sorry. My 2-year-old does not know what counterclockwise means. And they're trying everything. I mean, we were trying to pry something off the window, get the screen back.
They got their master set of keys.
Went through every key. They went through every key that they've ever had in their life that's there, and trying to get in there. And so
the guy was like, I'm calling locksmith right now. And so he calls the locksmith, and well, the locksmith can't get into the room either for the longest time. It's 2 hours later that we've been sitting outside this motel room because our daughter decided to lock us out.
Yeah, so it is anti-locksmith, this deadbolt is, because it was near the
it was right on the
Pacific Ocean, and he said that almost all deadbolts, that's what locksmith said, he's like, almost all the deadbolts down through here, he said when they're old, he said they corrode with the salt water, and you can't get in them. And so he ended up having to drill the deadbolt out, and right about the time he gets it all busted out to where we can get in,
you hear her TV go on a commercial.
Yeah, her TV goes to a commercial, and she starts crying, like literally right as we're opening the door. And so during the entire 2-hour debacle of being locked out of the room, she has eaten. Almost, I mean,
no, it was almost a whole pizza.
Yeah,
I
can't believe how much she ate.
Kind of pizza
like
she ate.
The whole pizza almost, but literally between a half and 3/4 for sure. Yeah. And so she, and the 2 liters half empty, and And I mean, and you know, she's just in heaven.
She has taken everything that she thought was funny to take and hide and hid it in different places in that motel room. It took us probably 45 minutes to find all our stuff and pack and leave the next day because, like, I couldn't even find, like, certain shoes or our toothbrush, and it's like they're all hidden in different spots in this motel room because she was having a blast sitting there hiding all her stuff. And she didn't even notice until the last about 10 seconds.
But without exaggerating, she did not realize we were gone until the last 30 seconds. And I mean, that is
well,
just
she realized
100%.
we were gone and locked us out.
Yeah, but she didn't care.
Yeah, she didn't care until the last 10 seconds.
I mean, it didn't upset her at all. You know, not at all. Anyway, so, long story short, it was a $75 locksmith bill, and we offered...
No, we paid 75 of it. It was 100 and some odd, and we paid 75 of it. We paid half of it.
Okay.
And
it was a $150 locksmith bill, and we offered to pay half of it because we have motels, and we know that we would probably never be that lucky to have guests as cool as us that would want to pay for half of it, and so we thought that would be nice to do, and maybe that good luck will come back around for us. but yep, so that's what we did. So
maybe they will start getting keys to their deadbolts.
Yeah. And so it was definitely an adventure, and then again in the future for like months Sarah ordered pizzas from the Crescent City, California Pizza Hut. And so that's basically the gist of the story. But it was an issue that kept, and that's what's funny is it was an issue that kept giving.
It wasn't the next night that our car got broken into. It was the next night we went to San Francisco.
Oh yeah.
And then we went to San Francisco because our transmission. This is going to be when our car got broken into now. We went to San Francisco the next night because our transmission on our car started slipping. And we still had a warranty on the car, thank goodness. And we took it into the Infiniti dealership. We have an Infiniti QX60. And we were really fortunate when we got it. We got it from a used Dodge dealership. And we took it into the Infiniti dealership to have it serviced, and they ended up giving us an extended warranty to 96,000 miles or something like that, and they were just absolutely amazing with it. If we're getting another vehicle, we're definitely getting an Infiniti because of the customer service that they've had. But, well, our transmission started slipping, and we were like, that's not good. We're like 1,500 miles away from home. We can't have that problem. So we went to the closest Infiniti dealership, which was in San Francisco, unfortunately. They kept our car for 3 days, and because that's how long it took to get the part in to fix it. We get our car back, had it back 2 hours. We had it back, we parked in this parking garage that we've been parking in this whole time. And because we weren't expecting to get it back for possibly another couple of days because they told us that they may have to replace the whole transmission. Well, they ended up getting it fixed and had it back, parked in this parking garage, and we had already paid for this trolley tour. And so we were like, let's go ahead and do this trolley tour and then we'll go and leave town. Infiniti expensive to fix, I imagine. Yeah, our front headlight's $1,200, and we found that out the hard way.
Yeah.
It is very expensive to fix.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? A headlight, $1,200. Like the insurance, of course, we didn't have to pay for that.
Yeah.
State Farm was our insurance, and they told us that there was only one headlight that they were aware of that was more expensive, and they said it was some Lexus, some headlight on a Lexus or something.
Yeah.
And but yeah, $1,200. That's insane. Absolutely insane.
And so we went and did this little trolley tour. 5 minutes in, I look at Derek and go, oh crap. I said, I left my purse in the car. I was like, it's going to get broken into. And he's like, oh, no, it's fine. It's all right. Don't worry about it. We get back to our car, and lo and behold, 2 windows are broken out. My brand new purse that he just got me for my birthday. And everything. Just everything. All of our luggage was taken and strung out all over this parking garage. Like, our underwear is right next to somebody's car door. It was an absolute mess.
It was very, very
demoralizing.
Demoralizing, embarrassing. Just, I mean, talk about an invasion of privacy. I mean, you know, it was bad. And Sarah took it much worse than I did emotionally.
He had nothing of value pretty much stolen.
Yeah.
Everything of mine and of Lenora's was stolen. Social security cards for both of us, her passport, her birth certificate, my notary stamp, just all sorts of things were in there that were stolen. The keys to all of our properties were stolen out of my whole purse was taken, everything. I had a firearm in there and all sorts of stuff. All they got was the firearm. They didn't get the magazine because we were complying with California laws and had it in a different compartment in the car. However, it was an absolute mess, and we thought originally that 2 firearms were stolen because he wasn't allowed to carry his either, and his was sitting in the top of my purse. Well, we're freaking out that we call the cops, and the cops are sitting there telling us it'll be at least an hour and a half before they can get there. Just an hour and a half. And I was like, you are absolutely kidding me. Like, that's not okay. It shouldn't take you an hour and a half to get here. And of course, I'm like stupidly searching for the people, trying to see if they at least dumped my purse, and maybe some part of my purse or wallet or anything is anywhere.
Yeah, she was going to beat them up. She was so mad. I'm so glad that you didn't come in contact with them. There's no telling what could have happened.
But anyhow, because I'm the hothead of us two, and I'm the confrontational one of us two, very much so. But
and I'm the smart one of us two.
Anyway, I'm the one with more firearm skills. But searching and like looking in the hallways and in the stairs and just hoping that something was left of it, because it was my purse, and it was like the wallet that his grandma got me for Christmas. It was just all the information that you could possibly imagine was taken, and it was just total invasion of privacy, like just absolutely awful. Well, I'm on the phone with the cops, searching the place, and we're like, do you realize that 2 firearms were stolen out of our car? Not even kidding, still on the phone with them, not even 45 seconds later, the cops show up because 2 firearms were stolen. And we're like, you're kidding. Like, you're kidding me. Absolutely kidding me. It was going to be an hour and a half, and I tell you 2 firearms are stolen, and you show up in 45 seconds? Like, that's ridiculous.
We got bumped to the top of the list. It got expedited quick.
Yeah, really quick. Well, they assured us that everything was fine. Then the Infinity dealership, we called the Infinity dealership. They were great. They were like, if you want to come in, like, we're closed right now, but there's still somebody at the service department. They'll help you get your car taken care of, and we'll help you wrap it up and all that. And I'm going to show a quick picture of one of the windows that was broken out real quick on our Infinity. There is the front passenger window where they took my purse out of.
We had 2 windows broken. One was this one, and the other one was the back hatch window. And we're still finding glass, over a year later. It's a mess. But it is really sad that sort of thing happened, and just such an invasion of privacy. And here's a picture of
where we found some of our luggage, and there were about 6 or 7 other vehicles that had their cars broken into as well. And there's a couple of our pieces along with other people's luggage. There was just glass all over this place. The police officers wouldn't take tag numbers of any of the other vehicles or anything. They said, well, they have to call in if they want us to do anything about it. I'm like, okay, whatever. The officers were really nice, though. A lot better than we were expecting. And pretty overall happy experience with them. Well, 3 weeks later, we were home.
Yep.
3 weeks later, I dropped my debit card in the passenger seat, and Derek went out to the car looking for it, and lo and behold, one of the firearms that we thought was stolen in there had like fallen out of the purse and lodged up underneath the seat in between like the middle bracket and the seat itself.
I mean, guys,
we were absolutely dumbfounded.
It was in a position that like really seemed like it would have had to have got taken and stuck directly in that spot. Like the way that it happened. And the thing is, we know that both of those pistols were in her purse, and we just can't believe that is a bit. They're in such a hurry. I mean, when they're breaking the law, criminals don't go slow. And they busted the window, reached in there, grabbed the purse, yanked it out, and that's where it ended up. But we were drawing
no fingerprints or anything else like that on the car either.
And that was part of it too. It was really hard to actually examine what all was missing, because basically what happened is they were like, "Don't touch anything," and so they're sitting here asking us everything that was missing, and we're like, but yet we're not allowed to touch the car. I mean, we're not allowed to open the door, and to go look and see what all is missing, and so. We was really lucky because we actually had, in addition to the one pistol that we found that wedged up underneath the seat, we actually had 2 other ones with us as well. And the only reason we ended up with it is because we were in a hurry when we were checking out.
The reason why they didn't end up stolen was
because we were in a hurry when we were checking out of the hotel room that morning. And basically, we had them in their boxes, like Smith & Wesson and Glock, like in the boxes that say that on them, and the little carrying cases. And we had them up on top of like the hanging rack in our hotel room. Well, as we left, it was like the last thing, and we had a black trash bag. And I was like, Sarah, just grab it and just throw them in the black trash bag. And literally, they was in the black trash bag.
On top of all of our luggage that they took out of the car and went through, they just pushed them to the side.
I couldn't believe it. That was what, after they broke in back there, when we went back there and was looking and seeing what all we could tell was missing, we couldn't believe that trash bag with those 2. I mean, that was all that was in there. It was like some paper plates and cups, and then both of those pistol cases. And both of those we couldn't believe that they were still, that they got pushed to the side and was still in there. And so, it was a shame that, it all happened, but, on a good note, we did end up with 75% of our pistols that was in the car. We only lost 1 out of 4.
And we went and tried to report all this stuff stolen, like, through the federal government, since it was her passport that was stolen and everything. And they were like, oh, you can't report a child's passport stolen unless you're buying a new one. And we're like, what? I'm like, they have her passport, her birth certificate, and her social security card. I'm like, this is how freaking child trafficking happens, especially with them getting all this other information. I'm like, I don't want my kids' information being used for that. And so that really, really bothers me, that they don't have a better system other than just saying that it was lost or stolen when we go to buy a new one. And we're like, we don't need to buy a new one right now. We don't want to spend the extra $250 to get her a new passport right now. That's not what we need to be spending our money on at this moment. We had just gotten her one, too.
Yeah.
And so it was extremely frustrating because they didn't take it serious. And I really wish they would take stuff like that more serious. But that's just me being mad at them over that.
Are you working hard on your forums, Flat Earth forums? We're gonna have to go by. I know that we subscribe, and I know that we've definitely checked out your channel before, and I have not. It's been a few days definitely, so I'm gonna have to go back and check out some of your stuff. We really do appreciate you coming in, but see what kind of stuff you're working on.
But that's second crazy experience. Well, technically third crazy experience that trip. The first one, our daughter and Derek, we were trying to cook some cheese curds, and they both ended up burning themselves on cheese curds and on grease and on the stove, and it was a disaster. And so he ended up telling Lenora that they need to leave the cooking to Mommy.
Yeah, I learned that night that when there's a grease fire, that flour does the trick. I learned, the hard way. I don't even know if we had flour that day, but it was certainly something that I learned that night. It was us, but we all learned it. Sarah didn't know either, and so yeah, that was definitely something new for us.
Thankfully, we had some flour. But
thank you, no problem. If you can't watch me, we're all busy and support others too. Yep, we will make sure we definitely check it out for sure. Flat Earth forums. I always try to go and check everyone out that comes by here for sure. It's really neat seeing all the different networkers and stuff growing and stuff.
Hi, the American Wanderer.
How are you doing? Thanks for coming by.
We have just gone over 2 out of our 3 main stories that we are planning on doing tonight. We just went over how our daughter locked us out of a motel room in Northern California on the coast. And then we just went over our car being broken into in San Francisco. But when we found that other firearm, we were both pulling straws to see who needed to call the police and who needed to call the insurance company to tell them that we found one of them.
Yeah, it's kind of embarrassing to do, to call the insurance company and be like, and the police, both of them, to be like, yeah, you know that pistol that we reported stolen? Yeah, we found it. And so that's kind of something that we were definitely trying to avoid.
Yeah. But they had us take it in and do a courtesy report at our local police department and stuff like that, and that was the first time we became irritated with the cops about that situation, because it was 3 weeks later and the serial numbers hadn't even been put in the computer to have them marked as lost or stolen yet.
Yeah, they suggested that I go to our local police department, which was in Oklahoma, and to go in there and to say that we needed to do a courtesy report over the gun and say that it was listed as stolen, and that we need to do a courtesy report to fix that, basically. And so we went in there, and I get an officer to help me, and I show him the pistol. I said, and I explained him, I told him the story. I was like, yeah, funny story. So this, and that happened, and tell him how all of our stuff got stolen, and how mysteriously we end up finding the pistol underneath the car seat and stuff, and so telling him all the story, and he listens to it and kind of laughing, and he says, well, and he asked the dispatcher, which is, it's a small town, so he just turned his shoulder and said, hey, run this. It should run this serial number. It should come back stolen. I was like, honestly, I wouldn't count on it because the last I heard, they didn't. A couple weeks ago, they never even put the serial number in the case number or whatever report. And so he runs it. And he's like, nope, not stolen. And
hello, Benny Bass Fishing. How are you tonight?
Thanks for coming by. We appreciate it, Benny Bass Fishing. And so we're sitting there, and we're telling him, he's like, yeah, not stolen. And so, I was like, yeah, that doesn't surprise me. But what's funny is the police officers in San Francisco, they assured us that our pistol would very likely turn up. No problem at all, Benny Bass.
Be very likely that the firearm would show back up. Yeah. And they're like, it usually switches hands about 5 to 6 times, but in that time, somebody's going to get caught with it, and you'll end up with it back. Yeah,
they said in a year. They said very likely you will end up getting a phone call from us within the year, and you'll get your pistol back.
Yeah. We've had 2 phone calls, but it's never ended up being ours, unfortunately. Yeah. And so, but correct, Dustin, do not panic when there's a fire. Never panic. And you never put water on a grease fire, guys. We didn't do that, but still.
We didn't do that, but we know that.
Yes.
But going along with that, about the theft of when our car got broken into, oh gosh, I don't even remember what I was going to say. I was sitting there thinking about it. Good. There was something else I was going to add on that got... Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember what I was going to say now. So, we got checkbooks stolen. And so,
If anybody knows an Eric Haney writer, let us know.
We basically got the checkbook stolen during the whole ordeal, and because they were in her purse.
I carry everything in my purse.
Several different checking accounts.
3 or 4 different checking accounts, like the business checking accounts, our personal, like everything. Like it was, like I said, it was a huge invasion of privacy. Like it was just absolutely awful, and I work out of my purse. I carry stuff with me all the time, and we have to pay a mortgage or do this or do that or pay an electric bill on a place, and so I always carry stuff with me. And then same thing with my notary stamp. You never know when you're going to strike a deal on something.
Yeah, it's definitely something we've taken advantage of a few times, her carrying her notary stamp with her all the time. So we got the checkbook stolen, and basically and it was like 8 months later. We have an account here in our small little town that we opened like 2 years before, and we never had anything in it. And I mean like $100 or something like that, like nothing. And that's what we had to open it up with, and we had never messed with it since. And so we basically, what had happened was, as soon as we moved here, so we opened
like 2 or 3 weeks after we moved here.
Yeah, we opened the account like 2 years before we moved here. We opened it when we bought the motel, and so then we lived in Oklahoma for almost 2 years, a year and a half, after we bought it, and then we moved here, and then like 2 or 3 weeks after we get here. We get our statement in the mail that always says the same thing every month, $100, and it says like negative $540 or something. And
it was more than that because it was an $800 check through.
Oh, okay, so $740, whatever it was,
whatever the fees and stuff like that.
Yeah, and then there was fees and stuff. And what's funny is when I was opening it up, and I was like, oh look, here's our life savings or whatever I said, or whatever, I don't remember what I said, but I was like. And I opened it up, and I couldn't believe it was this giant negative number.
He's like, you didn't write a check for anything,
I was like,
did
you did not write a check out of this account.
No,
and,
not happening.
And I'm like, did you think you did on accident? Like, and then all of a sudden it hit us, that checkbook was stolen. And I guess we just didn't really make it we kind of forgot about it. We
forgot to go to that bank because it was so far away.
Yeah.
With everything. We went to all the other banks, and then thankfully we were going to church with one of the girls who worked at the bank, and she's like, I just wasn't sure. And we're like, yeah, here's all the stuff that happened. And they signed it Eric Haney Ryder, wrote it to Eric Haney Ryder, and like signed
Endorsed
the back of it to Eric Haney Ryder. And it was just a mess, and wrote it somewhere in Montana through who was it? What was the bank that it was cashed at?
It was like in Minnesota or something.
Minnesota.
Yeah. It was like Minnesota or something. And so
but the headquarters of that bank was in San Francisco.
Yeah,
what was the bank of it?
Which
what was the name of the bank?
Oh, it was like Wells Fargo.
It was Wells Fargo.
Yeah. And so what's funny that happened, but that didn't really add up. Anyway, so yeah, I guess they just decided to wait 6 months or 8 months, however long it was, from the theft of it before they decided to start trying to write checks to themselves. And the thing is, like, I mean, you never know what could happen. I mean, there's no telling. I'm sure the ones that will rob you like that, they probably have like a guy over here that they send the birth certificates to, person over here that's IDs, person over here that's the firearms, and they just take they probably just take all of their stuff that they thieve, and you know, they go different places. They probably have a guy that pays them for each you know, type of thing, and so, you know, that's probably what happened. And eventually it got to the point to where someone was desperate enough that they needed money bad enough that they wrote themselves a check, which, you know, I don't.
How can you be that stupid though? At least like fake our signature on the front, especially if they had a driver's license and everything else like that of mine, and my name's on the check. Why? Like, wouldn't you think that they're going to sit there and trying to forge my name? Like, that would have been the smartest thing for them to try and do, but of course, they're a criminal and they're not that bright. But you would think that they might try and do something a little bit better than signing their own name to everything.
Yeah, and so that's...
And it was a personal account. It wasn't even a business account. It was a personal account that they tried doing it on. And that was, like, the stupid thing for them. Like, at least a business account, it would have looked a little bit better with them signing their own name on it.
Has anyone out there, have any of you guys had stuff stolen like that? It's like my first theft. I mean, I've never had stuff stolen from me before. And so it's definitely, you know, an awakening. You know, it's certainly something new. You know, something you don't really think about. But, you know, I guess you gotta... You know,
we've canceled and changed all but 2 of the bank accounts, I think, now because of the situation and just it being horrible.
You know, we're usually pretty good with you know, paying attention to our surroundings and stuff, and you know, it's something that, you know, now we even pay attention to even more. You know, just as far as security for yourself and your family, and you know, getting that, you know, every time when I'm in a crowd, you know, I'm always paying attention to, like, my wallet's always in my back right pocket and this and that, and like every time when someone bumps into me, like that's the first thing I do is I make sure that it's still there and you know, and whatnot. And so, you know, it's definitely something to think about more. As you know, it's sickening. It really is, that the stuff like that. There's people in this world that do that kind of stuff, and you know, it's an enterprise. It's definitely an enterprise. You know, they took Lenora's passport And
birth certificate
and birth certificate
and social security card.
And no telling. I mean, there's no telling what kind of money that brought for someone. I mean, that is a
gold mine for somebody.
That's trafficking a kid. I mean, easy. I mean, it's
makes me sick to my stomach.
Yeah, it is absolutely sickening that's what our world is, you know, but yeah, you just gotta pay attention. Got to watch your surroundings. We're actually gonna have a video, especially since we're hoteliers. We're gonna have a video on security in your rooms, on basically some of the hacks to make sure, you know, to keep yourself and your family safe while you're in a motel room, because hotel, whichever kind of room you're in, because, you know, I mean, it's not your home. You know, your home is you know, you got it down most likely. But when you're in a strange place, you never know, because you don't know who has a key to your room. You know, it could take 2 seconds for a key card to be made or something that has your room number on it or whatever. And so, you know, it's something that we always try to make sure that we're aware of, because we spend a lot of nights in hotels, and you know, we just want to make sure we keep our little family safe. Make sure no one's gonna try to break in.
Yep.
But we're gonna get a video. It's gonna be under the travel tips, tricks, and hacks, which is what we release on Wednesdays. And so
we're gonna start releasing on Wednesdays.
Yeah, and so we are actually beginning to do this, and so we actually well, I don't know when we'll do that one. Probably in a week or two when we'll upload that one. But the one that we're going to be uploading tomorrow actually kind of goes along with all of this that just happened with the San Francisco trip. And so basically, it's
a little bit of the good and then a little bit of bad at the end.
Yeah.
It's just our last day in San Francisco, a little bit of an overview of that and the trolley ride. And the trolley ride was really fun and informative, and it was really neat. And to go and see all these things, and it was just not have to drive around, because when we have to drive around, then somebody has to pay attention to the road, usually him, because I don't like driving, and so it's nice for both of us to be able to sit there and pay attention to the sights and get the full effect of it.
No, it was really neat. It's a beautiful, beautiful city, you know. It's, you know,
we will never be going back.
No, we won't. We're done in that
That
time.
night we saran wrapped our windows and drove straight to LA to be closer to my family. We were done. We were not about to spend another night in San Francisco.
Sorry for all the problems. Got to go to bed. Been working for the new vid number 31. We'll catch you later. All right. Well, thanks for coming by, the American Wanderer. Keep up the hard work. We'll make sure we check out your latest. Thanks. But that night, yeah, after it happened, we called. So for anyone that's going to get their car broken into, the worst time to get your car broken into is at 5 p.m. on a Friday, and that's exactly when ours got broken into. And so I'm calling around trying to find, like Sarah had mentioned earlier, there is that we had just left the Infiniti dealership with our car, and I mean we had a rental for 4 days. I don't know why that one couldn't got broken into.
Because not all our luggage was in it.
And that's why our car didn't get targeted the whole, you know, because we parked there for, you know, for 3 or 4 days prior, and so, you know, so I'm calling around, and they said that we could come in, and there the Infiniti dealership is like a 4 or 5 floor building. Like it's basically a parking garage. That's the Infiniti dealership in San Francisco, and it's just, you know, absolutely
great people though.
Yeah, it has fancy floors. I mean, it basically you can put lipstick on a car on a garage, and that's what it is. I mean, it was really nice, and they had the offices and stuff like that. But it was a parking garage. Is you know,
we
is
had
what
great
it was.
customer service there though. Like, and by the time we had called with the problem, and by the time we got there, it was over the mileage for our warranty. But because we called and made the appointment before, and he calculated how many miles it was and stuff like that, he ended up everything was covered under warranty. And like, they didn't give us any grief about it at all. They were just absolutely wonderful about the whole thing. Like, they just amazing. Absolutely amazing. Like, I don't have any complaints with a dealership, and that's very rare.
Yeah, they do great, and they treat you like royalty. They go. The closest one to where we live is the one in Tulsa, and they got, you know, a deal full of cookies that are freshly baked and all the pop you could drink,
snacks and juice and healthy kid-friendly snacks and just all sorts of neat things that they have there for just convenience, especially if you're going to be there for a long time. And we go in and we get parts all the time from there for silly little things like a fuse here and a fuse there, or a lug nut key.
Lug nut key, we're good at buying those.
We're good at buying lug nut keys.
Yeah, unfortunately we've bought 2 now. And the good thing for us is the first time was not actually our fault. When we bought it from a used dealer, they did not include the lug nut key. And we didn't realize that. In fact, I don't even know if I even realized what a lug nut key... I didn't even know until we had a blowout on the side of the road a few months later. That's how I found out I needed a lug nut key. And we looked everywhere. We tore the car apart, called the dealership. They said, oh yeah, it should be in the glove box, and it wasn't.
And the dealership said, hey, just call the place that you bought it from. I was parts guy for 32 years.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. For what, Flat Earth Forums?
But they told us that, oh, just call the dealership you bought it from. They should have it. They just probably forgot to give it to you. That should be part of their customer service, like, and they'll give you a free one. They said, if you bring it up here, we'll break the lug nuts off. And that's all they would do for us. And we're like, we don't want you to break them off. We just want the key to it. And they're like, oh, well, we can't do that. You can buy one. And we're like, whatever. And so we didn't even bother with the dealership that we bought it from anymore. We just went straight back to Infinity, and they came out and they tried all their little sockets on it to figure out which one went to it, and they were just extremely patient and just so nice about everything. So nice about everything.
Yeah, they did great, and so they, you know, we've had lots of good experiences with them. Honda dealership, Lincoln Mercury, and Toyota. Okay, awesome.
I don't think I've owned any of those.
I have not had any either.
No, I don't think I have.
But yeah, so you know, so we're there, so we're in San Francisco, and they tell us that we can come back. They're like, yeah, the
offices are closed, but the parts department's still open. There's still people there. They'll help you wrap it up. And they're like, if you want to wait around till tomorrow, we can get your window for you. And it'll be 10 a.m. before we get it, but we'll get it put in. And we're like, we're not sticking around another night.
I called, and this goes back to the worst timing ever is 5 p.m. on Friday. I called like every single window replacement company in San Francisco area, and not a single one could get me in before the next morning. And I mean, we have this. I mean, the
dealership
feeling.
Was great, but we just didn't end up using the dealership. We were sick to our stomachs, and we didn't want to be anywhere in that town.
Yeah, and what we were doing was we was driving the California coast, all the way down. That was our plan. Yeah, and so we had started all the way up in Seattle, and we had made it all the way down to San Francisco at that point, and we were going to go all the way down to San Diego. Well, after that happened, we went to a Sam's Club and bought a giant roll of Saran wrap, and
out of San Francisco, I might add.
Yeah, and basically we just wrapped all the windows. And talk about an annoying sound It was a pretty good. So we drove. We left that night out of San Francisco.
Drove all the way straight to LA.
Drove to LA, and it was.
I think it was like 8.5 hours.
Yeah, it's a long ways.
8.5 hours.
And it's just horrific sound. I mean, there's nothing more annoying than plastic on your windows, and so we go all the way down there, and we get in touch with a Safe Light because they seem to be the ones that have the most access to glass, and they were the ones.
We called our way down there, and they said Tuesday was as soon as they could get.
Yeah, and we're on Friday, guys. We are on Friday evening on our way to LA.
But we felt safer in LA, closer to my family, to where we might be able to park a car in a driveway, or at least in a safer neighborhood where we knew where we were going. And so that's what we did, is we drove straight down there, got a motel room that night, and we stayed till Tuesday. The guy with Safe Light comes, and he looks at the car, and he said, "This didn't happen here, did it?" And we're like, "No." And he goes, "Let me guess, San Francisco." And we just started laughing. We're like, how in the world? And Derek's like sitting there talking to him. He's like, yeah. And the guy said that he did one a week in LA. Is that what it was?
He would have one break-in. He said typically he would have one break-in a week. And he said it was never two windows. He
it was
says
always one.
Always just one. And he said that he had got sent down a few months before to San Francisco, or sent up to San Francisco because
they were short.
They were short. Can you help? Here you go. Here you go. Because they were short. They were short staff. Of course they were, because this is an enterprise of breaking in people's cars. And so so they're sitting there and they're like, oh yeah, we did, and he said he did 20, right?
20 a week.
20 a week break-ins in San Francisco.
80 a month, just on his Safe Light car.
Yeah, he said he personally did 80 in a month, and when he's in LA, he does usually one.
One a week.
I'm sorry, for a month. And so yeah, it's just
and it's always
crazy.
2 windows in San Francisco, is what he said. He was like, because they don't leave fingerprints. They'll break out the window, grab your luggage straight out through that window, and not leave any fingerprints. But in LA, they'll break a window, let themselves into the car, and then go through the car. And he said that's the difference between LA and San Francisco when it comes to that.
Yeah.
And he said, I was warned to only use cash when I got up there, and I didn't even think about it, and I paid for pizza for everybody. I left my card with the receptionist to order us all pizza, and of course my account got drained. The poor guy. But he said he'd been doing it 15 years.
Yeah.
15 years, and he has 1 a week in LA and 20 a week in San Francisco when he was there. Yeah. And that's why they could get us our glass the next morning in San Francisco, but not in LA.
Yeah, I mean, it's a business for sure. They definitely they was making it happen, but yeah, I mean, it's crazy because if they break out every window that there's something in front of. I mean, if there's if the thieves are interested in kazoos and there's a kazoo in front of each window, they bust out every single window so they can reach in and grab it. And it's just sick. I mean, you would think that they could break one window, unlock the doors, and go around and get everything, but that's just not the route. That's just not the route that they go. But yeah, let us know any stories you have, or any time you've been broken into or something like that. Definitely be a neat discussion. It's definitely something we've highly experienced. Hopefully it doesn't happen again, though. We probably, like she said earlier, we probably won't go there again. But we won't stop traveling, probably. We are kind of dying down on the traveling a little bit because we're here, because we're running this motel here, and we are just very close, within a couple weeks of getting it opened up. And so we you know, that's definitely the plan, and so since we're gonna open it up and start going with it, then it's kind of makes it hard to run a motel when you're not at it. So it kind of makes it more important to make sure we're at the property. Make sure we can rent as many rooms as possible. It's definitely the goal.
Well, do you want to move on to the big finale?
I don't know. Yeah, we can.
Well, our last horror story that we're going to share for the night is, it'll take us probably quite some time to tell this.
Yeah.
Is when somebody tried to kidnap our 2 almost 3-year-old daughter. No, she just turned 3.
Yep, she's 3.
She had just turned 3.
She's still 3.
And
it happened in November.
We went to an OU West Virginia football game, and of course it got out late, and we had a room in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and we were on our way back to there, and his aunt collects magnets, and it was her first, like state magnets. It was the first time that she'd been in those states, so she wanted to go ahead and grab those magnets. Well, we stopped at a gas station on the border thinking that they would have them, and they didn't. But we were hungry, and we were trying to, we were going to go to IHOP to eat anyhow because of how late it was. And this little gas station had this really nice huddle house in it and looked really clean and safe and had a bunch of OU and West Virginia fans in it. And we were like, well, why don't we just go ahead and stop and eat here?
So those of you that don't know what a huddle house is, it is like, it's like a Waffle House. That's probably the best thing to compare it to. Usually they're attached to like truck stops. They're kind of like those restaurants that are there, that's there with the rest.
It wasn't attached to an itty bitty gas station in this one.
Yeah.
Like there was like maybe 4 or 5
and
parking
so there
spots.
was just there. I mean, it was definitely not a truck stop. This particular one, it was a little convenience store. I'm not even sure if they sold gas. Like it was like, I remember I parked and there was like only a couple other cars there at the front of the gas station, and there was only like there was literally like 3 or 4 parking spots. And I moved because everyone was taking too long, right? Yeah. Yeah, and basically so many people were going in and out, and everyone was in there except for me, and Lenora was still in the car. And so we went and parked on the side of the convenience store. You can go ahead.
And so I go out and ask Derek if he's fine with eating there, and he says yeah. And so he went ahead and ran in and went to the restroom, and me and Lenora walked in by ourselves into the huddle house, and they asked us if we needed to be seated. And I said yeah.
So basically, it's not like I ran off without my family. So
he just went in that. We
went in together. It's just I went into the gas station portion, and she went into the restaurant because I had to go to the bathroom. And so it would have appeared to someone that's just sitting in there that Lenora and Sarah went in, just them two. And it's okay. Let's just get it straight. It was like 11:30, right? Yeah. 11:30 p.m. Okay. The game.
And our other family members were already inside because they had already run.
Yeah, they were in the convenience store portion at that point. And so like and the reason we're out taking our 3-year-old into a gas station, into a restaurant at 11:30 is because we just got out of the game, and it seemed very safe. You know, everyone, like she said, everyone that was in there was like they was either wearing OU stuff or they were wearing West Virginia stuff, and then there may have been like one extra family that didn't have one of the 2 teams' gear on. I mean, the game just got over, no more than 15 minutes away, and that's all that was in there was sports fans. Go ahead.
And it was like a mile into Pennsylvania, because
and that's why we stopped there, because we wasn't going back to West Virginia on that trip. We was on our way to Morgantown, West Virginia is in the very far northwest corner of West Virginia, and we had got into Pennsylvania, and it was like the very first exit, literally 1 mile from West Virginia. And we had, and we, you know, that was why we stopped there, because she needed West Virginia's state magnet.
And we all had to go pee.
Yeah, we all had to go to the bathroom. It wasn't just her fault, but you know, it wasn't like that at all. And unfortunately, that's how she feels. But you know, it didn't have, you know, we would have stopped anyway. But you can go ahead.
So it's like an hour and a half later. We haven't even gotten our food. We're sitting there with our drinks.
I don't know if you heard her correctly. An hour and a half later. So it is
about
almost
12:30.
It's almost 1 a.m. Yeah, I mean it's 12:45 to
30.
I think the first I think it was about that time, 12:45, and so we're sitting there and are still waiting on our food, and we're being patient. Like, we don't even care. Like, we're with family. We have it's
sitting there BSing. And
yeah, it's us, our little family. So us three, and then it's my aunt and uncle and cousin. And so there's three more. So there's 6 of us all together, 5 adults, and we're just sitting there talking because we just won the football game. And we're sitting here chatting about it, watching highlight videos of the game that just ended an hour before that we were at, and so we don't even care. We're not even paying attention to the time, really. And so we basically that's kind of what was going on. We were sitting there just chit chatting.
His aunt and Lenora were sitting there taking silly photos and just playing around, and this guy I just see out of the corner of my eye. We're in a U-shaped booth, and it's like me, Derek, his cousin, Lenora, his aunt, and then his uncle. And
so it was a corner booth. So yeah. You know how a lot of
it's just a U-shaped one, and there's nothing on either side of us. Just kind of a random booth in there.
Yeah, it was just kind of in the middle there of the room. It was weird. It was at the end. There was no one any farther into the restaurant than where our table was.
And this guy just comes walking up, and we don't know where he came from. We don't know if he was sitting at the little waffle bar or if he came in from outside. But he walked straight up to our booth and came and crossed his arms on the booth behind, on the seat back behind me. And we kept sitting there trying to engage him and trying to have a conversation with him, trying to figure out why this guy is just standing here creeping us out. And we're just trying to, how are you? What are you doing? What's going on? And where are you from? And we were just he's just barely giving us one-word answers. Then he pulls out his phone, and he starts taking pictures of Lenora. Okay, and so just it was so awkward. At first, really, we were like, oh, cool, he wants to chat about the game. Yeah.
He has West Virginia gear on, and he's coming over to tell us good game probably, and and just sitting there not saying a word. And like she said, I mean, we're engaging, and we're like, hey.
What's going on? How
did you go to the game? I think that was the first thing I asked was, did you go to the game? And he said, yeah, and I got really drunk. And that was his response. Yeah, and I got really drunk. And we were like...
This guy did not seem drunk or inebriated in any way, shape, or form, I might add. He wasn't stumbling, didn't reek of alcohol, wasn't, nothing. His speech wasn't slurred, just seemed like a normal human being, and just really, really creepy. And of course, yet another time when we didn't have our concealed carry on us, and those states honor our concealed carry, we just didn't even think about it. We just went to a football game, and we were like, oh, we don't need this. It's not a problem. We didn't even think to bring it in to the restaurant with us. And we're like, what in the world? Why didn't we do that? And so I just keep getting creeped out even more and more, and he starts taking pictures of Lenora. So Derek puts up the menu and is like, so where are you from? And he has this menu blocking this man's view of taking pictures of Lenora, and he slams his phone on the ground. And
So I put
my heart is just racing.
So when I saw what he was doing, yeah, I mean, like she said, I lifted the menu up, and I couldn't. I mean, I couldn't believe how mad he got. It was just awkward. It was so awkward. It was so awkward. And then when he's taking pictures, like it's like wow, like I just adopted Lenora, like 3 weeks before, like official court date, last of it, official.
She was my daughter, and her real father signed over his rights willingly and gave permission for Derek to adopt her. And like it was just one of those things, like it was a better situation for her. Have nothing bad to say about him. He did what was right for his child, and he signed his rights over to Derek. And it was a huge blessing. Like, we were so excited about it, and it was just awesome.
And so I'm like brand new daddy over here with my Pampers on, and and you know, and so like it was absolutely, I couldn't believe what was happening, and so you know, I'm sitting there holding up the menu.
I might add that he was not brand new daddy. He's been in her life pretty much since the day she was born. But that's besides the point. He was just 10 times more overprotective now. But he's like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening, especially to us. And he's like,
and so many people. Like there was 5 adults, and she was like, there was a good 2 adults on each side of Lenora, and she was cornered into the back of the booth where no one could touch her, and no one was gonna touch her. And so that's, you know, I couldn't believe the audacity, like he would do something like that, this guy. And
Derek asked him where he's from.
Yeah, I asked him where he's from. He said he lives about 10 minutes away in West Virginia. Yeah, that was one of the questions.
I sat there because he asked him that when he put up the menu, and my heart is just sitting there racing. The lid's gone. It's okay, baby.
Yeah. It's fine.
My heart is just sitting there racing. I reached down, pick up his phone since it was next to me on the ground, and I should have kept it. I should have put it on the table and not let him have it back. But I was just trying to avoid confrontation at all costs, so I picked it up. I just reached over, sat it on the booth behind me, and looked at everybody and said, I'm going to get my purse. Because I knew this man was huge. Like, he was huge. He was stocky. He was 6'2", 6'3". Like, it was going to be a problem. Like, I knew that he could overpower us, or at least a couple of us. And I just told them, I'm going to get my purse, and everybody knew what that meant. And I ran, absolutely ran. I didn't even know if the guy was behind me or what was going on, and he didn't follow me, which made me 10 times more scared. And people are seeing me shoving my firearm into my purse because we had everything separated and stuff like that in the car, just safety precautions, and shoving this in my purse and dead sprint running back inside. And
because of course at this point in our lives we are much better at hiding our guns in our car, after we just got the other ones stolen in San Francisco just a few months before.
And I'll let Derek tell you what happened while I ran outside in this short 30-40 seconds.
So she went outside, and right when she left, my cousin Brad, he says, he's like, yeah, sir, do you know, we're sitting here just having some family time, just chit-chatting, enjoying our night. Do you mind excusing yourself? And immediately he gets belligerent, slams his hand on the table, pushes it into us, and says, no, I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving
with a bunch of curse words.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not leaving without her. And leading up to that, he was sitting there, you know, like Sarah had said, he was sitting there like, hey, come on. Like he was saying that. He was saying this to Lenora. He's like, come on, let's go. And my Aunt Tammy, she's sitting here taking pictures of the guy, and she's sitting here and she's acting like she's taking selfies with Lenora, and she's taking pictures of the guy because he was weird, with what was happening. I mean, we couldn't believe what was happening, and so Sarah went outside to get the pistol.
His cousin said, "Can you?"
And yeah, he asked if he could, and he got belligerent and said no. And he says, and Sarah is coming back in, and I mean
he has the table shoved into all of them.
Yeah, I picked up the phone and called 911 because no one else is doing anything. Everyone, you look around the restaurant, all the other tables occupied, and even though there's a loud commotion and this kind of stuff is happening, no one, everyone, it's like people don't even want to awkwardly look our way. It was weird. I remember scanning and everyone was minding their own business and not I could tell that there wasn't going to be one person intervene. And I called I called 911 and I get to a dispatcher. And they said, what's your emergency? Where are you located? And I said, I have no idea where I'm at. I said, huh?
My heart's racing.
I said, I have no idea. I said, I'm at a huddle house, and I think I'm just barely in Pennsylvania, if that. I said, I might be in West Virginia. I don't even know where I'm at. And they said, oh, okay, I know where you're at. The dispatcher.
They traced the call.
They said, I know where you're at, and I said, okay, I need someone quick. And they said, and then a couple literally 45 seconds later, the dispatcher's like, okay, do you still need me to dispatch someone? I was literally, this guy's my wife's about to kill him. Seriously, if he does something he's not supposed to do, and he said, oh, okay, and so he says, let me transfer you, and he tries to transfer me, and it goes dead. It just went, it rang a couple rings, and then it just went to a busy signal. And so I hung up, and I tried immediately calling back, and then right about that time, I'm trying to call back. He is saying that he's not leaving this place without Lenora, and
that it's his kid.
Yeah, and Sarah, I said, oh my, I need to not be on the phone, because the phone's part was done, in my opinion, and because I really thought Sarah was going to come in and kill him.
I sat there and I just, I knew his intentions with what he was doing. However, I didn't fly off the handle until I heard those words come out of his mouth. That is when I sat there and I absolutely lost it. But I knew that I was not going to sit there and, yeah, I got my firearm, but I know when the right time to draw it is. And I got up in this man's face, and he ended up letting go of the table, and his uncle was able to get out and got the waitress, and the waitress was screaming for the manager, and she was screaming at the cook to call the police, and I'm in this guy's face because I'm not going to back down. I'm going to be between him and my child no matter what. And it's everybody that is put in their 2 cents in this situation is, why didn't you shoot him? It wasn't the time. It was not the time for somebody to lose their life. And he had not physically put his hands on my child yet.
The most at this point that he has done is he has threw the table into all of us.
Hit me with the menus.
He's hit Sarah with a menu, and which wasn't even intentional. He grabbed the menus and turned and swung and threw them.
Swung them at me. Yeah.
And in the process, they hit her. And so that's the assault that has happened at this point. And he wasn't getting to Lenora because we had too much manpower, really. But
I was full protective mommy bear mode. I'm not backing down. I know how to handle myself. I know what I'm going to do. I know what I'm going to do in each situation. And is a fine line of when it's the right time to pull out your firearm. There is a very, very fine line. And most people will just get scared and pull it out in a defensive mode, and then that's how most of these useless shootings and stuff like that happen. But is people not properly trained on how to handle situations. But that's besides the point. And just, I knew that I did not want that to be engraved in my child's mind, of her seeing something like that happen. That is not something that anybody should ever have to experience. And so I'm just in his face yelling and screaming, and his uncle just had heart surgery, and his aunt just had knee surgery, and so I know that, like, I'm not expecting them to be able to do anything. Like, that
But they were going to.
Yeah.
and that's the, you know, we were all going to do anything it took. We all had little plans in our head. I mean, one of us, my cousin, I can't remember. I think my aunt had a knife, and butter knife, of course, because that's what's on the table. And then my cousin was bending back the deals on the fork to have a couple less to puncture. And it may have been vice versa on that. But yeah, I mean, everyone was prepared. And my solution was flipping the table, if it came to it, if he came starting to try to dive across. Because, I mean, again, like she said, we just got out of the game. We didn't have our pistols on us. It was very helpless situation. I can't believe we went into a place like we did. I mean, they were just out in the car. It's the last time it happened. I mean, it won't ever happen again. It was definitely a helpless situation at that point.
I threw my purse down next to his aunt because I knew that Lenore was right next to her, between him and his cousin, and it was just one of those things where I was like, it's better off for me to be able to hop on him like a little spider monkey if I need to do something right there, and her with the firearm. It wasn't in the best interest for me to have the firearm at that point, because if nothing else, at least one of them could have grabbed her and ran and had that to protect her. And I knew I needed to be in between him and my child.
Yes,
that's all there was to it.
Very much, Eileen. We all still, have trouble with it. I mean, it was, it was the most sickening feeling, just.
It affects our everyday life.
Yeah.
It seriously
does. But it's kind of, in somewhat it's a good thing too, I guess. I mean, it's not good that it happened. It would be never good that this all happened. But it does. It does. It keeps us on our toes way more. Our security is top notch now. And we pay attention to our surroundings, and we just don't take the chances that we used to. And but go ahead. Sorry.
But then and I'm sitting here screaming, you're like, quit trying to take my child, this is my child, get away. Like, I am trying to make sure it's known to every single person in that restaurant, call the freaking cops. Come on, people, step in, help, intervene. Like, help us. This man is trying to take our child. And I tried to make it known, like, just screaming at the top of my lungs, so that way it was very well known what this man was trying to do. And I will say that the waitress came up and got in his face too, and
she did great. She said, "You need to leave right now."
I never expected a waitress to be able to do that.
And she was not. Amazing. She did not do very good as a waitress. Our drinks were sitting there empty, and she was, of course, the only one in the restaurant. There was probably 14 tables, and she was the only waitress.
She did amazing for that, and she did amazing for the situation. All the staff there did amazing for the situation. And then this guy that's trying to abduct our daughter, his friend comes up, okay, guys? His friend comes up and is like, are these people bothering you?
Like, we could not believe that there was someone on this guy's side. With all of this going on, and then there's this guy as an accomplice, like at that point we were like, well, crap, this guy's big too,
Yeah, and the waitress is like, he's trying to abduct their child, And he goes, oh, and starts grabbing him by the back of the collar, trying to drag him out of this restaurant. And this guy is fighting, throwing punches, screaming. A manager on duty, which was the assistant manager, came out, and the only person smaller than this guy in the whole restaurant was Lenora. This poor guy.
But he was brave.
He was so brave. So brave. This little guy, he stood his ground, and this guy was threatening everybody. He said, if you touch me or if you think you're going to make me leave, I'm going to effing kill you and this and that. Like, he threatened to kill everybody. Every single person in that place he had threatened to kill.
Yeah.
And that he was not going anywhere without her. Well, in the midst of all this guy's sitting here, like, literally trying his hardest to drag him out of this restaurant. And with the manager and the waitress like they end up getting him out of the restaurant, and we thought he was locked in between two glass doors.
Yeah, they had told us that he was locked in between the two glass doors. That's what the manager said.
They couldn't get around in time.
And so we thought, we were like, oh great, awesome. And
the guy is sitting there screaming and punching all of the windows in this place, like trying to force his way in through the windows, like just kicking, screaming, punching, throwing. Yeah, I mean
seriously, if this wasn't horrific enough, and then he is, being
and by this time, Lenora had already peed all over herself, the booth, her aunt, like. Everything's covered in pee because our child's so freaking scared.
Yeah, and she was trained at that time.
She was completely potty trained.
Yeah, and so like it was scary. It was scary. But yeah, the most scary part is after all this horrific that happened, he's banging on the doors and windows, yelling at the top of his lungs that he's not leaving without her. And it is just, just sends chills down your spine as that's happening.
12:45, and the cops get there at what, 3:30?
No, it wasn't that long. It was like an hour. And so about an hour later, the cops finally show up, and everyone in the restaurant. A lot of people in the restaurant are still there. Like. People waited because they wanted to give
statements
to the police, and because they wanted to make sure this guy gets put away for what he's doing.
There was a really nice little old couple that was there, and like he's like I knew there was no way I was going to be able to help, and like it was a frail little old couple. Like I can't expect somebody else to put their life in danger for ours. But they stuck around the whole time, wanting to give a statement, and along with a couple other people. The police walk in, tell everybody to leave.
Yeah,
Just tell them to leave.
We're like, there was literally 10 adults waiting to give statements. Like, that's how many people had waited. There was 10. And the police step in and say, okay, everyone needs to leave. And we're like, these people are wanting to give statements over what happened. Oh no, we don't need it. There's surveillance here. And so, that was weird. Like that was definitely a red flag. We just couldn't believe what had just happened.
And they told us, and like we get there and. They're like, oh, okay, we'll get the surveillance footage. It's okay, you guys can leave. We're like, the guy was just out here, like, banging on the windows and the doors. You're not even going to try and walk us to the car? Have you checked the surroundings? Have you gone around the building? No, we haven't. We haven't done this. We haven't done that. Like, why are you telling us to go out to our car right now?
They didn't want anything.
They didn't try and take any of our information. I was like, are you going to try and take our information? A description of the guy? Like, what are you going to do?
Oh, yeah, can you describe him for me? Is literally what the officer said. And and my aunt, she had taken pictures, multiple pictures of him, and she shows him the picture. And
he goes, oh. And then starts to walk off, and the other officer, I was like, email address, something, like, hello, come on.
This is better than a description. I don't know what you were going to write down on your notepad. But anyway, and so all they took from us was
my name, my phone number.
Yeah, name and phone number, that's all. Nothing else.
and didn't take anything from anywhere. Well, we called back the next morning, and the waitress reached out to us and apologized and asked if we were okay, and we reached out to the manager, and the manager was like, I'm so sorry this had happened. And like, I know that he was dreading that phone call with me because he just thought I was going to sit here and like demand the video, and I'm like, no, I've worked at a restaurant before, I know the operating procedures, I know lawyer, courts, everything, like that's how it needs to be obtained. And he's like, just sigh of relief from this manager knowing that I'm not going to sit here and cuss him out over the situation. Like, and before we even leave that night though, the cops looked at us and told us, without a name, we can't do anything. Yes. So if you find out who it is, us, not them, they don't want to do their dang jobs. If we find out who it is, then they'll do something.
Yeah, because that's what we were like, well, we want to press charges, and they're like, yeah, we can't do anything unless we have the name. So if you want to figure out who it is, then great. And so, of course, we took that as a challenge.
Yeah,
we threw his picture on Facebook, and he got shared like thousands, a lot. He got shared a lot. It went viral in that area. And found
out who it was less than 12 hours later.
Yeah, about within 12 hours, we had his name, his address, his social security number, where he works, everything. I mean, his boss, his phone number, everything. We knew everything about him within like 12 hours. And
so many people volunteered all this information about him.
Yeah.
And they were like, we expected it, the ones that private messaged us. However, his family got on there and started attacking us on Facebook. And then said that he was drugged, guys. Said that he was drugged. And that he shouldn't be held responsible for those actions.
Yeah, that's what his family said. I mean, literally. I mean, we have messages of them telling us that's what happened. And so,
I'm on the phone with the manager, and he's like, yeah, no problem. It's held for 90 days at our facility, mm-hmm. and then it's held off. The video's held off-site for 2 years, and he said we can get it at any time. Like, don't let them tell you that you can't. Well, we went through this whole process. The cops just absolutely lying about everything. We even tried going to the sergeant, and the sergeant's just sitting here blowing smoke up our behinds.
He's lying too. Like it was so disappointing. And, you know,
the only time I've been extremely disappointed and upset in a police department.
Yeah, I mean, we're not those type of people. Like,
we're totally back the blue, like...
Absolutely. And we're not, we're not going to blast the department or who it was, whatever. But yeah, I mean, it is so disappointing how that was handled. And it all boiled down to one officer at the very beginning not being too lazy to do his job. And you know, I mean, and that's the thing. We told the sergeant, we're like, listen, if this was your child, you don't think this would be taken care of a little bit better?
Get this! This guy was this kid's pee-wee football coach, guys. His pee-wee football coach. Like, how upsetting is that this guy is around kids probably on a daily freaking basis, and he also did the little baseball as well?
Yeah, like Little League
baseball coach as well. And the officer's kid knew him. This guy freaking knew him. And
that was part of the problem too.
Yeah.
So the officer's sitting here acting like he doesn't know who it is when we're showing a picture. Nope, never seen him before. And
walks off, doesn't want to take a picture or description or anything. Well, we called the officer with who it was. He's like, oh yeah, I just got off the phone with him.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I talked to him. I was on the phone with him. I was like, was there a reason why you didn't tell me? Like, tell me that you were his. Oh, are you acting like I'm not doing my job? I was like, I'm just asking why you didn't let me know, because that's the thing. We're trying to figure out who this person is.
So we can press charges.
I would have appreciated a phone call that said, hey, we figured out who this guy is. Why don't you, now you can press charges. But no, they want, they said, oh, they're out-of-towners. They're not from here. They're not, they're not going to do anything. And so, That's the route they were going with it. The guy was lazy, didn't want to do his job, the officer, and he didn't, and he continued to not want to do his job for weeks on end after that. I mean, every time,
Until there was
and he was so defensive, and kept lying to me. He was telling me that the charges were filed one day, and what he did, the charges that were filed were for harassment and disorderly conduct. That's all that they would get him for. And I was like, how about assault? How about this? How about that? And public in-talks. Oh no, I can't do public in-talks because I wasn't there to see it. I said you told me when you would talk to him that he said he was drunk and don't remember anything that happened. And you can't. And so I said he sat there and admitted to you that it was public. They could have been public in-talks. Well, yeah, I can't do anything about that. I was like, wow, what a joke, And
in the state of Oklahoma, it would have been a minimum of felony assault on a minor when he shoved the table and hit Lenora, and then 4 at least misdemeanor assaults on Derek and his cousin, his aunt and uncle, and let alone everything else that there was there. Like, the guy would have been a felon. And that's all there is to it from trying to abduct our child.
And he deserved to be. He
100% deserved to be. I don't care if you're drunk or under the influence of drugs. You tried to abduct my child, you need to be held responsible for your actions. No exceptions.
Yeah, make better life choices.
And I was sitting there the whole night praying that it wasn't this type of situation, that the guy would contact us and be like, I'm so sorry, I just lost a child that looked like her. I've had my child kidnapped and she just reminded me so much of her. Like, I was hoping it would have been a grieving father in some way, shape, or form, because that is something that I could have got past emotionally, and we could have sat there and come to some sort of agreement or some sort of understanding as adults and as parents. But this guy tried to abduct our child for who knows what type of sick and disgusting reasons. And the manager, I called him back and told him that all this was going on. He said, that's the first time we've been able to get the police out here in over 6 months. I'm surprised that they even showed up, and this stuff happens here all the time. And we were just absolutely mortified.
Yeah,
well, by the time,
crazy. Couldn't believe that you said that.
By the time we actually got the police to start pressing these charges, and we were going to get a lawyer and everything and take it to court, this guy was only going to get $750 in fines, guys. $750 in fines. That's it. For trying to abduct our child and the scene and everything that was caused. And the threats, the death threats and everything. Well, we go to try and get the video and let a lawyer know and stuff like that. New manager! You heard it. New manager at the Huddle House. And the new manager at the Huddle House says that it's a corporate policy that they release no videos and that they don't have video anymore of that incident. And so, unfortunately, with everything that we learned, it makes me absolutely sick that I didn't do more and I didn't shoot this person. Just morally being told the things that he has done. And
which we will keep to ourselves. Yes.
But morally, I just could not imagine this man being around any type of child. And I have never regretted keeping my composure. Never regretted keeping my composure in a situation like that until that day. And now it just absolutely sickens me that I did. But, like I said, we're not going to release that. We're not going to release his name or anything.
Because now, I mean, he's sitting there still, probably coaching Pee Wee football, probably coaching Little League, with nothing more than just a weekend of embarrassment. Because that's basically all it was. His picture went viral, and everyone saw it, and everyone was defending him, because they knew him as a different person, and I probably would do the same thing if it was someone that I had in my life that I felt like was a real straight shooter, and I would probably defend someone too if they were my friend. I mean, that's not something you imagine
but
that
his
your friend would
that was there that drug him out that night said, oh, it's all a lie, that they're just disgruntled fans.
Yeah, we won the freaking football game, guys.
That was the most disgusting thing to me ever, that man would just sit there and say that we are just upset fans. Like, it had nothing to do with football. It had 100% of something to do with our child. Our freaking child was trying to he was trying to kidnap our child from 5 adults. Like, who in their right mind tries to freaking do that? Who is that stupid? Like, we just absolutely could not believe that.
You know, and then everything's running through our mind. We're like, okay, I mean, and it sounds crazy now looking back at it, but this stuff was going through our mind. We're like, okay, her passport and birth certificate and social security card just got stolen like 3 months prior. Like, is this connected to that? Are they trying to take the person too, so they can have the whole deal? You know,
or is it child trafficking on that level off that street? Like, the cops passed us on the highway leaving. Like, they didn't even sit there and get all the information.
When we left the restaurant, the cops said, okay, we're going to get the surveillance. And we don't even make it a mile down the road and they fly past us. And you know, it was the end of their night, you know, I imagine, and they were just lazy. They did not want to do their job, and you know, it's a shame. It's a shame that happened. And like Sarah said earlier, you know, we're not haters of the blue. Actually, we're big time. We back the blue for sure. And it's our first sour experience with law enforcement, and I hope we don't ever have it again. But you know,
I don't go anywhere alone with Lenore anymore. Absolutely not. Refuse to. We are always both carrying at least one or two, because one on us, one in my purse. Like, we are those paranoid parents now, because what would have happened if it was just me and Derek? How would we have been able to handle that situation? I wouldn't have been able to go and get the firearm to know that I was going to 100% be able to defend my child no matter what. And we travel a lot and by ourselves a lot. And it was horrifying for us. And this was the last photo that his aunt took of Lenora before. Like
this picture was taken at the booth.
Yeah.
Sitting there while we were waiting.
And that's
on our
his
food.
cousin behind her. And we were just absolutely mortified. And this is what I posted a couple days later. It says, this photo was almost on an amber alert. This photo could have been the last photo that we had taken of our precious daughter. This photo was taken just seconds before the incident. This photo is what we could have plastered all over the news. This photo could have been all that we had to cling on to, waiting for the police to do their jobs. This photo depicts how happy she was that she got to go to the football game. This photo is burned into our memories and would have been burned into the memories of thousands of people. This photo would have been burned into the memories of his family members. This photo is what his children would have looked at and known that their dad chose her over them. This photo means so much more to me now than most can imagine after the circumstances. If you are one of those people that would be comfortable with carrying a firearm for your protection, maybe you're still putting off that concealed carry class, or maybe you just haven't gotten your fingerprints done and sent in the application. If that is you, I highly urge you to stop putting it off. Something like this could happen to anybody under any circumstance. And it was absolutely terrifying to know that could have been the last photo that we could have had of our child. To know that we could have never have seen her again. And Eileen, I don't think she does. I think there for a couple months afterward, it totally went into a regression with her potty training. She couldn't. We had to put her back in pull-ups and completely go back through potty training again because of the event. And I know that at that point there was still some sort of memory of it, but I don't think that there is now. But it was...
Yeah, we try not to talk about it. If we're showing someone a picture of the guy or whatever, we
never let her see the picture of him after it happened. We really tried to save her from any sort of extra trauma with it. She shouldn't have had to have seen that face ever again. We never want her to have to see that face ever again. And it was just, it was the scariest thing to sit there and think that I could have lost my child that night. And we could have lost our child that night. And that, it's just absolutely heartbreaking. And that photo is so important to me now, just to remember, make sure I can always protect my child no matter what. Like, I'm a small person. I'm small framed. I'm like 5'5", 140 pounds. Like, that guy could have easily have overpowered me and taken Lenora if it was just me. He could have probably overpowered me and Derek if it was just us two. And it was extremely terrifying. And we were just very blessed to have been with family and to be able to protect our child, our daughter, more in that certain situation. Like, God had them there with us for a reason. And
because it's usually not how it is. I mean, it's usually just us three. And you know, thank God it was a different circumstance. It was, you know, it was definitely a blessing. 'Tis we would have done the same thing probably. We would have left the game and probably would have went to the same place and ate. You know, it's not, we would have done that. You know, and you know, we probably would have we would have stopped in there and because we were too hungry to make it to IHOP in Pittsburgh. And so, you know, that's how it would have been, and I can't imagine how different the circumstances could have ended up. But you know, we really are blessed that we had extra people with us, family, and.
But like I said, I don't even go out of the house alone with Lenora anymore. Like, I always went 2 or more people, because then at least somebody is there to stop and somebody's there to run. Run off with her. Like, it's just, and one person can be overpowered so much easier than 2. And 2 sets of eyes are better than 1 searching your surroundings. Like, it just doesn't happen. We don't go out alone with her. If somebody's going, they're running an errand alone, because we're not going to put our child in any sort of danger like that. Like, it could be even a trip to Walmart, because I had somebody at Lowe's come up to my cart and try and take off with Lenora in the cart, and that's why I ended up getting my concealed carry in the first place, is because somebody physically grabbed a hold of the cart and tried to take off with it, and 2 Lowe's employees came up and were like, "Let us help you load this into your trunk." And like, I was having an absolute panic attack, and we went the next day and I filed. I already had my class and everything done, but I just put it off for over a year. I put off my license for over a year, and if it wasn't for those Lowe's employees, he could have nabbed my daughter. And before that, a car parked behind me as soon as I got to Lowe's, and that's, like, I was freaking out, and, like, I wasn't getting out of the car. I sat there and laid on my horn, like, because there was people standing next to my car. Like, I was not about to get out of my car alone at that point in time until I thought it was safe enough, and it still wasn't safe enough. I should have went somewhere else.
R5 says that is terrifying. Biggest fear with 3 kids. Yeah, I'm
100% understand.
I mean, yeah, we just have one that we got to keep an eye on, and you know, and she's only 3. And Eileen says, I remember when my youngest was 5 and she was talking to a stranger in a car when I was on a payphone. I freaked out and panicked and screamed and quickly grabbed her and ran.
Yeah. And it seems like anymore there's just more sickos out there, and it just seems like it's happening more and more every day. And it was, the first time was Lowe's off of I-44, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was right off of I-44, right off the interstate. Like, it was a rock's throw away. And
guys, I mean, that trafficking, I mean, it is proven on interstates. I mean, that's where that stuff happens. I mean, absolutely, you know, we it's definitely it's real stuff. It's real stuff. And you know, we just gotta do what we can to try to you know, to be aware of it. You gotta be aware of it. You gotta pay attention. Again, I guess I feel like I've been preaching it this entire stream. We just gotta pay attention to your surroundings. But yeah, it's
anything, pepper spray, taser, whatever you're comfortable carrying, carry it. And whatever you are legally allowed to carry it.
Yeah. I mean, if it's for you, you know, I mean, if it's not, it's not for everyone. You know, that's certainly a fact, you know, and we're not trying to say here, you know, we're not getting paid by the gun companies or NRA or anything. Like, we're not even, you know, this is personal experience. Like, this happened. This stuff happened, and it changed our lives. Absolutely changed our lives, and you know, and we just want people to be aware of the kind of people that's out there. You know, I know a lot of the YouTube world is you know, is you know, homesteaders and that sort of thing, and you know, they just might not be aware of the ugliness that's in this world. And you know what, if you stay out at your place, you're probably pretty safe. I mean, that's safe. Nothing's safer than home, you know. I mean, that's certainly a fact. You don't leave, probably nothing's gonna happen.
Yeah, but
we leave a lot.
Yeah, we want her to experience everything. We want her to see all these different places and have all these experiences that we might not have necessarily have had as kids. And we want her to go to all 50 states. We want her to go to sporting events and kids museums and all this other stuff, and we want her to be able to just experience life, and she needs to know that there's something more beyond these four walls. Like R5.
My husband is a corrections officer, and he has been told by criminals that when they get out, they will find him and his family and rape me and kill his family and from him. So I carry. Absolutely. Yeah.
Hi, Aunt Tammy.
That's I mean, that's insane, and that's horrible. That's horrible news to hear, R5. But at least you're being smart, you know, and you gotta be. You know, you gotta protect you and your family. You know, it's certainly important, and
it is 100% important. Like, I think I have 2 pepper sprays, one that sits in my purse, one that's on my keys, and then I have one taser in my purse, and then I carry in my purse and I carry on me. Like, I am uber prepared, like, some way, shape, or form, because it's a lot more acceptable to tase somebody or pull out a pepper spray, and it's a lot I would rather get out of the situation than have to be in a situation like we were in. And that could have definitely have helped.
And so Tammy Eagleton is in the stream, and she is Aunt Tammy in the situation. And she, I don't know if you saw this picture that we took, your famous picture here, Aunt Tammy, but
Yep, we were treated like the criminal, is what she said, and it was extremely disappointing. Like, we just absolutely could not believe how we were treated in that circumstance. Like, we've never thought anything about corruption of police department. Like, you always hear about it on TV, and this was by far exactly what you see in a movie.
Yeah.
Exactly what you see in a movie. And it's like...
And exactly what you hear from everyone's, you know, you hear people talking about it, and you're always just sitting over there like,
oh,
come on,
like,
you know, you know, maybe you shouldn't have broke the law. You know, that's kind of, I mean, that's always kind of bit, you know, it's, you know, it happened, and we was absolutely treated like the criminals, and you know, it's so disappointing.
And we just didn't ever believe that the backlash that we would get either, and the threats from other people that we would get over us trying to figure out who tried to kidnap our child.
Yeah.
And yeah, he threatened their lives, and they totally ignored it. He, like I said earlier, he threatened to kill us, he threatened to kill the manager, he threatened to kill anybody that was going to get in his way of taking her. And that, the fact that they just didn't want to do anything, didn't care, is extremely, extremely disappointing that it got to that point. And so it's just very sad, very upsetting, but we've learned a lot from it, and we are definitely covering all of our bases now. Definitely covering all of our bases.
Yep. But, you know, we just want, I mean, you know, it's a testimony, you know, it's a testimony, you know. Again, we're just wanting to keep our family safe, you know, moving out, and unfortunately we still do, you know, we still do dumb stuff in regards to
being out late.
Yeah, we're night owls. We don't sleep at night very well. I mean, you know, we run. I mean, literally, we before we started this stream, we decided that we were going to go to Walmart and get groceries after the stream's over.
Yep.
And you know, and I don't know if we're still going to do that, but that's you know, that's our lifestyle. That's just kind of what we've done. And so yeah, I mean, we're, you know, we can say that we're trying to be as safe and smart as possible, but you know, we're not 100%, that's for sure.
Yeah. It's...
Well, does anyone have any stories or feedback or anything like that? I mean, you don't have to be like, yeah, that's horrible, because we know. But anything similar happened to anyone with you know, with threats or even the other stories? Has anyone let their 2-year-old lock their parents out of the motel room? I mean, I bet we're probably the only ones that's done that. Yeah. We're the only ones that would walk out of a motel room and leave our child.
If he was getting beat up or stabbed or something, it was the best situation not to put our child in that. Especially being 15 foot away. It's definitely a lot better for me to peek outside without her than to not know what's going on. Because I stuck my head out the door. Like, I listened, I couldn't hear exactly what was going on, like, I didn't hear Derek's voice, like, I just knew, okay, like, I have to go check on him in this situation, like, I have to go check on him. And he had service outside, but I didn't have service in the motel room.
R5 Adventure says, my kids locked me out of the house. What was the, how young were they? Did they do it just being ugly, or Or was it an accident? I mean, because Lenora, I mean, she was 2. Like, she did not know what she was doing. Like, she literally, I mean, you know, I don't
she was
think.
just playing.
She's just playing. She's playing with the doorknob. And you know, that's kind of what happened. And
Dustin said, I locked my mom out when I was little. P.S. Yes, I was little. Like, I think you still lock your mom out of the house. Don't you? Every once in a while, Dustin. Yeah. You're still a little stinker. Her oldest was 5. Oh, wow. So they were all really little.
So what ended up happening? Did you have to wait on someone with a key, or break a window, or call a locksmith?
I definitely think Dustin did it on purpose. We all know you did it on purpose, Dustin. I keep sinking. I climbed through a window.
Yeah. That is usually the solution, but this particular motel was very, very much battened down. It was very secure.
Yeah. We even tried they had the locks in there, right? So you couldn't just slip your card in and get the door open either.
Yeah.
So we tried those tricks too.
Yeah.
So we've been locked out of a rent house before.
Yeah, we get locked out of a rent house like every time someone moves out, it seems like. And so we always figure out a way in. I mean, you know, and usually with minimal damage, and that just shows, you know, that just shows how you know, lack of security anything can be, you know. But there's usually a window open, and going back to us uploading that video about the security and like a hotel room and stuff. You know, it is beyond important to check the windows. You know, sometimes we check
especially on the first floor.
Yeah, and first floor, stay on the second or third floor. You know, second's ideal because then you're not too high where you can't escape out the window in case of a fire, and then you're above the first where someone could just, you know, just a thin piece of glass away from someone.
Yeah. Plus also, if somebody gets drunk, they're not driving through the motel.
Yeah.
Well, that could happen anywhere, but still.
Yeah. But yeah, make sure you check the windows. Make sure they're locked. That's kind of a thing we forget is making sure the windows are locked. You just kind of assume the housekeeping locks it or whatever, but that's I promise that is not on their housekeeping checkoff list. I mean, you know, the
alarm clock's probably not even right.
Yeah.
Most of the time. So, little footsteps.
Yeah.
Nope. No, baby.
Okay. Well, when we come in there, we'll come in there in just a second, and we will
help you.
We'll help you take it off. Okay. It'll be a few minutes. Okay. Thank you.
There's Lenora. You want to say hi? You want to come here and say hi?
She is wearing an embarrassing dress. Like I made her cry earlier. She doesn't have underwear.
Say hi.
Say,
are you being a stinker? Are you mad at us? Are you mad at us?
Yeah.
Here, put your dress down.
Say hi. Say hi to Woolsey and Aunt Tammy. No? Okay.
Aunt Tammy's
we'll
on
go
there.
back in there and watch
Woolsey
Ladybug and Cat No More.
R5 Adventures. And whoever else is still hanging around.
I think. Eileen was here recently.
Eileen, yeah. But like I said, she's wearing an embarrassing shirt. So she has
she's 3 and doesn't understand the difference between OU and OSU.
Guys, I literally made her cry earlier before we went and ate. She brought it in for me to help her put it on. It's a dress. It's an Oklahoma State Cowboys dress. Okay. This is an Oklahoma Sooners family, and I like I don't. Where did it? I think my grandma got it for her.
No, I got it.
You got it. Must have been at Goodwill, right?
No.
You paid full price for that?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
It was cute.
Anyway, so she has this dress that's Oklahoma State Cowboys, and she brought it to me to help her put it on, and I was like, oh, Lenore, you can't wear this. And of course she started crying. She got so upset.
He told her it was an ugly color and that we don't wear orange in this family, and how dare she bring this dress to him, okay? Like, it was a little bit more than, you just can't wear that dress, honey. It was we don't wear orange.
It was a bunch of truth. A bunch of truth bombs. I'll help you. You don't gotta, we'll get a spoon.
Yeah, there is. Get an adult spoon.
Yeah, you can get an adult one. Here, put this in the trash.
Why don't you go help her?
Yeah.
But yes, he literally made her cry. Yes, Daddy is mean with that one. And thank you, Eileen. She is adorable. She is such a stinker. And Woolsey, yes, Boomer Sooner. But she was just so upset. She was so excited. Guys, she loves dresses. Like, she did not care what color it was. It was a dress. And she was excited. Just absolutely excited. And he broke her poor little heart. Just absolutely broke her poor little heart with it. And she eventually got over it. And I told Daddy to go tell her that she can put the dress on, and I made him help her put the dress on. So, yeah.
Yeah. Guilty, Eileen.
She doesn't understand the difference.
I definitely would not have done it if I would have knew she was going to cry. I mean, I was just kind of, being funny, and sarcastic, and she started crying, and I immediately, I felt so bad. I couldn't believe that. I was really surprised. She's just not quite old enough to find the humor in it. Yeah, she
doesn't know.
She'll get it in the next year or so. She'll get it.
Try like 3. Like,
yes.
Give her
Boomer Sooner. Dustin, absolutely.
Where's what?
Oh, I put it in there in front of the TV.
No.
she went to the bathroom when I was getting her stuff ready.
But, he made up for it, and he let her wear the dress.
Yeah.
In public, I might
and
add.
I even let her sit next to me.
Little stinker. She didn't want to sit next to Mommy at dinner today. She wanted to sit next to Daddy. She wanted to sit next to Daddy. She was not having anything to do with Mom. Even though Daddy was the meanie one.
I'm usually the one that, I'm the cool one. That's true, you know that.
I am. Mommy's the meanie. Mommy's the one that disciplines 99% of the time. And then she goes and asks Daddy for something, and he does it. And I'm like, I just put her in timeout for it. And it's not his fault, because he doesn't know. But she bats her little eyelashes. Yep. Exactly, Eileen. Girls go to Daddy, and boys go to Mommy. She bats her little eyelashes and gets whatever she wants from Daddy. I'm like, little stinker. But she also, no matter what you do, no matter where you put any sort of sugar in the house, she will find it.
That's right, Dustin. Sooner born, sooner dead, and when I die, I'll be sooner dead.
Sooner born, sooner bred. You said it wrong.
Sorry.
You said dead twice.
Sooner born and sooner bred, and when I die, I'll be sooner dead. And I have a shirt that says that, and then I also have a shirt that says,
Make Texas toast.
It says, oh my gosh, what is it?
Make Texas toast.
Oh, sooner bred, and then on the back it says makes Texas toast.
With, of course, Texas upside down.
See, I don't ever see the back of my shirt.
Terrible 2s, then horrible 3s. Most definitely.
Eileen, we are almost to 4. We are only a couple months away. And when she's 4, that means she's 25% of the way to getting her driver's license.
I'm gonna stab him with a pen, guys. Like,
she hates it when I say that. It is crazy.
Okay.
It's crazy that she's already almost 4. Like, it's insane.
Yeah. She's been to 4 opening days to Cardinals baseball already, though. But yes, most definitely horrible 3s. Like, that's when she found her voice and when she found out that she can cry a lot.
Yeah, it certainly isn't terrific 3s. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We never believed, we just thought it was something silly that every parent said that it goes by fast until
yeah,
we
Crystal.
had her.
I can't believe how fast it's going. I mean, we still feel like baby parents.
Yeah. Yeah. We still are. We
Yeah,
only
we are.
got one.
We are.
We only got one. And so it's poor Lenora. She always tells us that if she wants a brother and a sister at the same time. And I'm like, oh my God, what will that do to my body? She turns 5, she'll become like a little lady mother instead of mom.
Well, today she said that she told Mom that she hated her. And Sarah was sitting in there, and she came in there with me, and she said, Derek, they're not supposed to say that they hate you until they're like, how old did you say?
I said 16. I was like, they're not supposed to tell me they hate me until they're like 16. It's not okay. It's not okay. I don't even remember what it was about. I think it was about her shoes or something. Oh. It was about a peanut butter cookie. A peanut butter cookie, guys. My child hates me over a peanut butter cookie.
Yeah.
Because she was sneaking them out of the fridge. And I stopped it and put her in timeout. And she hated me. But that's something you gotta do to keep their teeth from rotting out.
I think it's funny, while we were telling all of our stories, everyone was being so patient and no one wanted to interrupt.
I know.
And now that they're over, now that our traveling horror stories are over, now we're engaging.
Yeah. But we have some others, but not any as exciting as those, I don't feel like.
Guys, we have one really good one that we just don't really feel like we can tell. It's just we have people of interest involved, and it just can't be done. It cannot be done, and unless something changes,
Dustin knows what we're talking about, but it is.
It's too much.
It is.
Too much. But here's a cookie.
Here is and cookie.
Cookie.
The cookie is what it means.
Here's the cookie.
Yeah. She has probably snuck in 1 or 2 while we're here. Kids are walking Jurassic Park. Most definitely. And our daughter absolutely loves dinosaurs. She had a dinosaur birthday party for
Guys,
3.
There is probably not, I mean, there can't be that many 3-year-old girls that's turning 3 that chooses when she's 2.5 that she wants dinosaurs for her birthday. And that's what we did. We rented a little party room.
Awesome R5. You can just edit during our videos.
But we got a little party room at the Science Museum, and it was all dinosaured out. It was fun. She definitely had a blast with it.
We had an 8-foot tall T-Rex that we made out of foam, and an 8-foot long Stegosaurus that we made out of foam too, thanks to one of our friends, Laren, and it was awesome. Yep.
Absolutely. Thank you, R5.
Yes, we really appreciate it. We need to do more editing.
Yeah.
A lot more.
But tomorrow, so we got this Monday, Wednesday, Friday thing where we're uploading videos.
Hopefully, we're gonna start working on it. We need to work on our content for it. No promises as of right now.
No, we're promising. We're promising. Wednesday.
Tomorrow we're definitely releasing a video.
Tomorrow we got it set ready to go at 6 p.m. Central Time. Yeah. And it's the one. It's basically it's kind of a little nugget from the from our San Francisco problems. But basically it's our Wednesdays are travel tips, tricks, and experiences. And it is basically an experience, and it's basically just a video showing our
trolley ride to our.
It was pretty cool, and then it also kind of shows the kind of hits on the fact that we got our car broken into and all of our stuff stolen as well. But and so that's tomorrow, and then Fridays we do DIY videos, and we have a lot of those. And this Friday, I'm going to be doing that. I'm doing the video on the countertop in the kitchen. It's basically this kitchen vanity, and I wish I had a picture of it. I'd show you. We'll try. I'll get it on. Try to get it on stream tomorrow. Are we gonna go live again tomorrow?
I don't know.
Okay.
We might. We
will. If we go live, it'll be at 10 p.m. tomorrow night, and I think.
Central Time,
and so we'll probably shoot for doing that again. But like I said, Friday is DIY videos, and Monday is real estate, lodging, real estate and lodging investing videos. And so it's just kind of some helpful educational videos on how we handle our investments with the rental properties and with the motels and just some of the fun stuff that we have going on with those, and kind of our ideas with them and stuff. And so that's the slate. So real estate and lodging on Monday, traveling tips, tricks, and experiences on Wednesday, and Friday is DIY projects. And so we're gonna. The plan is to release at 6 p.m.
Tomorrow is always a day away.
Yeah. And is to release on 6 p.m. On each of those days.
When I have a full-time channel already, I bet Mrs. R5. Like, it's one channel for us is a lot of work with everything else that we have going on. But we're not just on YouTube though. We're on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn and Tumblr and Twitter. And so trying to keep up all those accounts and trying to get content for every day and trying to make sure we post every day in every platform, and it's a lot of work. Not just YouTube.
Yeah.
And so it definitely takes a lot to get it all done for a brand. That's what we're hopefully going for is Atypical Hustlers branded.
The Atypical Hustlers. But yeah, we certainly have atypical lives and trying to make it happen.
Yeah.
But I guess we will go ahead and wrap this one up. We really appreciate all the support and everyone that joined us.
We'll go on tomorrow at 10.
So tomorrow night at 10. Wow, look at that. We went from maybe going live tomorrow to like we're going live. So tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Central, we will go live again. Not sure what we'll talk about. Maybe if you catch the live stream scheduled there a little bit before, you might be able to see on the thumbnail and stuff what we have going. But that's kind of.
You too, Mrs. R5. Have a blessed evening.
Thank you. Have a good night.
But.
What we're gonna do?
We'll try
figure it out.
Come up with something, or if you guys have any topics you want to talk about or ask us about, or have any questions about real estate or motels or any sort of DIY projects that you want to see, we can definitely try and come up with some content that you guys want to see, especially DIY project wise.
Yeah.
That's a huge one.
That's our lives.
If you think of a DIY project, there is probably something that needs to be done on our property or on something around here that needs to have that done. So just let us know, and thank you guys all for tuning in. We really appreciate it.
All right, bye everyone.
Bye.